Some of these works are known to only a handful of specialists. Others were forgotten and remain altogether neglected in archives and library storage facilities. Some, like Sojourner Truth and Florence Nightingale, are known for their other accomplishments, yet deserve recognition as biblical interpreters as well. This book refutes the myth that no significant women biblical interpreters existed before the 20th century. In this volume, we connect readers with a lost tradition of women's interpretation, introducing the fascinating stories of overlooked women and their significant contributions to the study of Scripture. We examine works by Jewish, Catholic, Eastern Orthodox, Protestant, and sectarian women, and a few atheists, freethinkers, and skeptics. We tell stories of women representing a diverse range of communities and geographical settings, including Africa, Asia, Latin America, the Caribbean, and the Middle East. These stories help to set modern feminist, womanist, and Latina biblical scholarship into historical context within the larger faith community. The title of this book is Voices Long Silenced. Through the centuries, religious communities have tried to silence women, or at least mute their voices. All too often, scriptures such as 1 Timothy chapter 2, verse 11, "Let a woman learn in silence with full submission," were used to reinforce cultural expectations about women's roles and limitations. Though countless women in the last 2 millennia reflected upon Scripture, in most cases, their insights have been lost to the ages because they were denied the education or opportunity to publish their writings. Sometimes their written works were intentionally suppressed or destroyed by religious authorities. Other times, women censored themselves, aware of potential criticism or persecution from their communities. Women of color, especially enslaved women and those in colonial settings, have faced particularly brutal obstacles. In many cases, all we have are echoes of female voices in the form of fragments of their teachings and writings embedded in a letter or report authored by a man. In these instances, special care is needed to evaluate how men may have shaped women's written accounts to serve their own agendas. Sometimes the agenda was to portray an idealized woman adorned with conventionally feminine virtues like modesty and humility. Frequently, women's works circulated without their names attached. Yet with diligent research and creative sleuthing, scholars can retrieve at least a portion of women's contributions to biblical study. Contributions that are impressive in their depth, insight, and originality, and often edifying and inspiring to today's readers. Although recent studies of female interpreters from various eras have dealt with particular themes and scripture passages, Voices Long Silenced is the first book to attempt to narrate a 2,000-year history of women as interpreters of the Bible. The authors have devoted years to discovering and analyzing works by women biblical interpreters. Marion Taylor is a Canadian Anglican biblical scholar with expertise in Old Testament scripture and women interpreters of the 1800s. She has published anthologies of 19th century women's writings and is editor of the Handbook of Women Biblical Interpreters, the first biographical encyclopedia of female interpreters. Joy Schroeder is a Lutheran pastor and church historian from the USA with expertise in early, medieval, and Reformation church history. She has published books on women's and men's biblical interpretation through the ages. Both authors build on the groundbreaking efforts of predecessors who did the initial work of retrieving the history of women's biblical interpretation, and numerous colleagues who have used their expertise to expand our knowledge of the topic. They are quoted in our chapters and cited in our footnotes. Our debt to them is enormous.